Strong Toyota, leading the way every day. And strong Toyota, symbols of trust.
It's been about 2 days since the controversial Bill 19 lapsed into Public Law 32-60, and GMH CEO Joe VERGA says he's been discussing with various officials how much money could be realized for GMH through the new law. VERGA says it's a rough estimate, but it's similar to the estimates Department of Revenue and Taxation Director John Camacho gave us yesterday.
Preliminarily, we're still looking at how much the hospital will realize from this bill. Right now, we're looking at in the neighborhood of $2.2 million.
$2.2 million a year, which is based on a 4% tax on roughly 600 gaming machines. And based on numbers provided by Camacho to PNC yesterday, that would mean Guam Music Inc., the owners of the Liberty machines, could get upwards of $55 million a year in revenue. While $2.2 million a year is certainly better than nothing, VERGA notes that GMH would welcome more. He also explains how the funds will be allocated.
60% of this is directed to urgent care, so upwards of maybe 1.3 million would be directed to urgent care, and around the neighborhood of $900,000 to operations and/or debt. Now, that's not a large amount, and that's certainly not enough, to meet all our needs. I would have liked to have seen a higher rate, but nonetheless, I'm very happy with anything coming to the hospital at this point.
And while VERGA emphasizes that $900,000 is not enough to cover the hospital's operational needs, another recently passed Bill 132, now Public Law 3243, will give GMH the borrowing ability of $13 million to pay down its debt to vendors. VERGA explains that Bill 19 doesn't specifically designate which debt the gaming tax must go towards, but he explains that debt is a part of GMH's operations.
Whether it's overall capital debt or operational debt, the hospital's in debt because it's not funded to support the level of service. So, every month we go into a little bit more debt because we don't have enough money to cover operational needs. In fact, if you read Bill 19, it really doesn't specify the debt, and I've heard, some issues with that. From my perspective, debt is part of operations. So if funds are going to be directed to operations, if you want to just call it semantics because it wasn't specifically put in, debt is part of an operation. So we can certainly, in my opinion, use those funds to either go towards the debt or to serve as daily operations.
So what about GMH's fiscal year 2014 budget request, which incorporated GMH's notorious $20 million debt? Well, VERGA says GMH intends to amend its budget request to reflect the difference of what the hospital could realize with both Bills 132 and 19.
Of course, I included the debt in the budget for obvious reasons, but the $13 million or that will not cover all the debt, and so we therefore whatever's not covered by that, then we may look at covering budgetarily and also. So there will be some amendments, I'm sure, and then ultimately what that comes out to be in the wash will probably become clear in the next several weeks.